This is CBS 6 News.
New York is now a state of opportunity once again, and our goal today is to reach even higher.
Governor Andrew Cuomo unveiling what he wants to achieve for New York in his State of the State address today. We have complete team coverage of his top priorities and reaction from state lawmakers. Plus, a difficult day in court for the family of a little boy allegedly killed by his cousin. What today's hearing means for two of his sisters and why their aunt just wasn't pleased with the outcome. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Cody Holyoke. Liz is off tonight. The governor unveiling his plans for New York in his State of the State and budget address this afternoon. Tonight we have team coverage. Greg Floyd is live in front of the Capitol, and our Capitol correspondent, Kimberly Howard, is in our Capitol newsroom. A lot of Capitols. We'll get to each one of them. We begin with our coverage with Greg, who is out on the plaza right now, and he was there for the governor's remarks. Greg, what tone did Governor Cuomo set today?
Well, it was a different tone today. I've covered a lot of State of the State addresses, but this one also had the budget message included within it. So there were a lot of numbers. Times the governor's talking about a $1.7 billion in property tax relief. That would mean about $1,000 for the average homeowner across the state. Education, a big topic here today. He wants to give $1.1 billion to education only if his very aggressive education reforms, including much tougher teacher evaluations, are approved by the state Senate and state assembly. He also wants to raise the minimum wage. All these will be very interesting issues, very negotiated issues as we move forward. Kimberly Howard, my colleague, was there listening to it all. She's going to fill you in a little bit more. She is live right now in our Capitol newsroom. Kimberly?
Well, Greg, as you know, the governor's combined address really included three main topics today: the economy, education, and public safety. Now, as far as the economy, he's looking to keep that 2% spending tax cap that's currently in place. He says that by limiting government spending, you can also decrease taxes. And here are some of his plans. He talked about cutting the net income tax for small businesses from 6.5 to 2.5%. He also proposed his nearly $1.7 billion property tax relief program. This is one that, as you mentioned, will benefit, he says, more than 1 million New Yorkers who will see an average tax credit of about $1,000 a year. He's also looking to award $1.5 billion to 3 upstate regions in a revitalization competition. That money will come from the state's surplus. And finally, he wants to invest in small business growth. He says he wants to cut red tape by streamlining the business license and permit system.
Let's invest in our homegrown companies and keep the jobs here now.
Moving on to education, this was a big one. The governor is proposing a $1.1 billion increase to education funding, but as you may know, this is half of what education leaders had called for. Cuomo talked a lot about those teacher evaluations, about strengthening teacher evaluations. He detailed some stats that showed that while more than 30% of teachers failed a 12th grade literacy exam, more than 98% of teachers in our state were rated as effective.
Who are we kidding, my friends? The problem is clear and the solution is clear. We need real, accurate, fair teacher evaluations.
And he then outlined a plan which includes the state paying for tuition for top SUNY and CUNY graduates if those graduates commit to teaching in New York schools for 5 years. He wants to create a residency program similar to the one doctors go through to work on teacher training. He says that a teacher who fails an evaluation can be helped through a proposed teacher improvement plan, but if they fail again, they will be fired. And teacher tenures will only be granted if a teacher completes 5 years of effective rating. So a lot of controversial plans there. He also talked about public safety. Greg, you and I both know he was talking about this 7-point agenda. Lots of interesting things in there. Everything from bulletproof glass for police cars to more snowplows. So we'll get more to that at 6 o'clock. Back to you, Greg.
All right, thank you, Kimberly. I can just a couple of points there. A lot of Republicans I talked to weren't too happy about the fact that you've got the tax breaks for small businesses, but they say that'll be offset by raising the minimum wage. So it's going to end up, being a wash in essence. At least that's what they're claiming. Education is going to be very hotly debated. These teacher evaluations, I talked to Billy Easton from the Alliance for Quality Education. They're not happy at all. This is going to be the real fight, I think, of this coming session. One thing we learned today, I just want to throw this in really quick. The state has, we knew this already, more than $5 billion coming to it. It's a windfall. It's from financial settlements. We learned today where that money is going to go. $850 million will go to the federal government, money that's owed to them. $1.5 billion will be that upstate competition, $500 million awards given to different upstate regions, and $3 billion will go toward